Metacritic reviews. This can go one of two ways. Especially since they're about Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, consider it has a 7.8 community score, which Metacritic's always been known to have questionable reviews, a lot of trolls, a lot of just weird people. There's a lot of positives, there's a good portion of negatives, and there's a lot of mixed. I'd say we're going to take a peek at the negatives, I guess, because why not? Could give us some laughs, right?
On your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going.
Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Maxusthebeast on the internet. I guess this counts as one because we're on the internet and we're actually reading stuff again. Going back to the roots of the series. It's only been like, what, 4 months since I've last done one of these? Anyway, as I stated earlier, today we are reading Metacritic reviews of Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I understand that there are plenty of just criticisms for this game and that there's truly no such thing as a perfect game. I have my own personal issues with the game. But let's just take a peek at these and you'll kind of get where I'm going here in just a second. Starting with just player here. And keep in mind, check out this, check out the post date here. Forget everything else I just highlighted, just focus on the date here. October 26th, 2018. To any of you keeping up with Red Dead, that date should mean something to you. Because October the 26th of 2018 is when the game freaking came out. I mean, for starters, I already have issues with the fact that day one hasn't even been out an entire day yet. But someone else has already written a review of the game, critiqued it this much, when, one, nobody's finished the story yet. Nobody's really had the chance to really play through every aspect of it yet. It's just basically everybody's still taking baby steps in it. I don't think there's any game that I can just play day it comes out, not even play that much of any of it, and then just go online and write a detailed review. Right? There's small games like point and click games, like my curator page has had to review several coloring games, but those are like non-story based games. I don't have to concentrate when I'm coloring by number. With with Red Dead 2, this is a story-based game also about exploration and a bunch of other stuff. So there's no way, not even a day's playtime worth of experience can get you to write a full-fledged review on a game, especially when you give it a freaking 3. Alright, enough rambling on about my issues with this guy. Time to read his review. This, of course, is a very beautiful thing. There are many details in it. The world of the game is big and rich. But it's more like a movie. Very unhurried. That's the freaking point of a video game. Alright. There's not a lot of basic gameplay in it. Define that, please. It is clearly better than the first part, which, in general, 90% of the time, there were dialogues and movements from point A to point B. And then, again, conversations. 2 or 3 shots, and the successful completion of the mission. In this series of gameplay more. What? But it's still not enough. Excuse me. In this series of gameplay more. Okay. In this series of gameplay more. In case one hasn't noticed, a video game is a linear experience most of the time, unless you're playing one of those previously mentioned point and click or just a shorter non-story based game. Red Dead 2 is a story based game, meaning it's going to take some time to complete. And if it's a good story, it's not going to be rushed and crammed down your throat. It's going to have gaps of gameplay in between story elements, whether it's, you just have to get from point A to point B, or, in this case, you do a mission at your own pace. You go where you want, you show up to places when you want. It's not forcing you to do anything. Sure, there's markers placed on the map saying, hey, here's a person who's going to give you a story-related quest. But it's not crammed down your throat. It's not like it's constantly saying, you must go to this destination immediately or else the game's not going to do anything. You can go stretches of time without doing jack squat with the actual game, with the actual story. You can just play the game as you want. As long as you want, and you don't have to actually do anything story-related. What I've actually ended up doing a lot of the time is just going around and exploring and just overall not caring about the story. Not because it's a bad story or anything, by all means. I'm not saying that. But just because it's such a big world out there. I'm just so fascinated with exploring every inch of it. It's kind of bringing back memories of playing games like Skyrim, where it just gives me this huge sandbox, basically, and I'm just going through it and seeing what all this vast world has to offer. That's kind of what I've been doing here. So really, the game can take as long as you want. You can play the game without doing any of the story, and just pace yourself on the story. If you don't want to do the story, well, you're going to miss out on some progress for your character and all that. You're going to miss out on some items and locations and, stuff like that. But you can still have a heck of a good time by simply just playing the game without doing the story. You don't even have to. So, there's the linear part to that. I don't really get what he's going on about with the whole lacking basic gameplay mechanics, because, I don't know about you guys, but this looks like a pretty put-together game to me, considering it took, 5 years to make? And the amount of detail that's put into random mechanics, like mercy killing animals. Not many other games include stuff like that. And graphical details and whatever, yeah, the game is very impressive. Everybody knows that, even people who are leaving these reviews. But the shooting mechanics work. Is just kind of clunky because I'm not really a big fan of controllers, and if I can just play this on my PC, or at least hook up a keyboard and mouse and play with that, I could probably, that would be overcome. But this is a very well put together game. The actual core functions of it work very well. I have encountered very few glitches. There was this one where my horse just fused with the fence for a long time and then finally became free of the curse of the random fence post. But that one way or another solved itself, so I haven't really had any real game-breaking issues. And nothing really worth whining about. So as far as gameplay goes, I'm personally having a lot of fun with it. If a game doesn't suit your playstyle, that's 100% okay. It all comes down to what you like and what you don't like. However, I don't think not even a day's worth of experience is enough time to really qualify for an honest and legitimate review. And considering that the review is posted on the day the game came out, I'm questioning the legitimacy of this review in terms of, how much of the game the guy actually knows. Because unless you speedran the game, there's no way you completed the story in one day. unless you just really put pedals to the metal, like I said. There's no way you have seen everything in the game in one day. Or done everything you can do. There's so many random encounters and stuff. Anyway, on to the next review. Okay, this next review was from October 27th, which, like the last guy, I normally would say is not enough time to really qualify a review, but after reading this over real quick, it's more like he's having issues with the PS4 Pro. I'm using regular PS4 to play the game, and I'm having no technical issues other than the fact that the frame rate cap is really low, but that's with most console games anyway, so I can't really complain about that. But he was having like some serious technical issues where it's just freaking out, where optimization as far as like visual quality goes is a letdown to him, so I'm gonna let this one slide. Oh, then we have October 29th down here of GMGH. Incredibly dull. Graphics on the landscape is excellent. Graphics on the characters is terrible. I highly disagree with that, but whatever. Personal opinions, personal preferences. Oh, and then we have another one from the day of the freaking release by All Would It Now Suck. Game filled with tons of unnecessary details, plays nearly exactly like its predecessor, mediocre shooting and painfully slow gameplay. Everyone on the internet be like, best game ever, do not hate on it. If anything, this game highly overrated as much as GTA 5, the most overrated game in history. Can't wait for some fangirls from other sites to start screenshotting me and other people. Oh, there's more. Who dislike this game to start attacking everyone who disliked this. But hey, why would you act like a mature person, respect other people's opinions when you can act like a literal baby and start attacking people for having different opinions? That's actually, the ending there is something I need to bring up myself, but honestly, I'm going to just mention this real quick. Typically when a game gets popular, whether it's on whatever platform, there's going to be a fair share of people who write troll reviews for it, and Metacritic is no exception, and it's become notoriously known for its large amount of troll reviewers. And I'm almost guaranteed that this is one because nobody uses language like this person was gam ever. The amount of misspells in there, I think some of it was intentional to just kind of mock people. And I honestly think that there's going to be more of these kind of troll reviews as we go on. But there's one point that he did make that I feel like I should address. And no way in making this video and by talking about these reviews am I saying that their opinions are incorrect. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but you have to have enough time to really develop it. One day is not enough time to write a full review on something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a much bigger game than one day is going to give you. You're going to have bad first impressions of a game, but you can't just let that one impression make or break a game for you. Unless it's like something like Sonic 06. Then feel free to critique that to the freaking ground all you want. With freaking no mercy. But there's, like I said earlier, there's no way that one day is enough to really firmly establish an opinion on what you don't like or don't like about a game. My first impressions of the game, I really liked it. But, you know, maybe some people could say I was taken in by the hype train. Maybe that's true. Maybe I was. But I fell in love with the game because it fit my playstyle. I like a linear large, giant map to run around in and just kind of screw with it. That's one of the reasons why I like GTA, is just you can go around and start doing whatever the frick you want to. And, oh, he also said unnecessary details. I'll get to that in a second. But kind of relating to the main point I'm trying to make from this. If you actually have an opinion after playing the game for more than 2 seconds, where you're saying something like, I don't like this game because X. Okay, fair enough. You've given the game time to really show you what you like or don't like about a game. You've really given it time to grow on you. Or rather, giving you time to really decide that you don't like it. And that's fair. Because you've given the game a shot. More than just an hour worth of playtime or a day. That's my biggest critique with a lot of these reviews that we're reading, is whether or not they're all legitimate. That still remains to be seen. But we honestly just, you know, a lot of these, they haven't given the game any time to really formulate an entire opinion or write a halfway decent review on it. Now, the reviews from the point after the initial release, like maybe, let's say November or something. I saw several in November that were bringing up legitimate criticisms, such as clunky movement speed and clunky controls. I mean, yeah, you're not supposed to be the frickin' Flash, it's the Wild West. But I get that movement speed can be an issue and controls can be kind of weird sometimes. Especially when I'm trying to vault over something and it won't let me do it. That's kind of frustrating. I get you there. And those came out not the day of release, but several days afterwards, where, assuming that the person reviewing the game has purchased day one or close to it and given the game a bit of time to really formulate an opinion, I'd assume that this person has had enough time to really form an opinion on a game, you know? And that's fair. If you've given the game a chance and you still don't like it, well, you gave it a shot. Props to you for doing that. And I respect you more if you give a game a shot, and even if you don't like it even after you gave it a chance, at least you gave it a go and had enough actual time to formulate an opinion. That's what I've been trying to say here. In fact, while we're here, let's go ahead and go over a couple of my main critiques of this game. Number one, kind of like what you just saw here, is sometimes when you're trying to vault over objects, it just simply won't do it. You'll just get stuck, and you won't be able to move. You'll get shot in these like shootout, and these shootouts will just get riddled to death, and there's nothing you can do about it. And sprinting, moving faster, is by simply just mashing the X key, or button, or A button if you were on Xbox, and that moves you faster. That's repetitive and kind of annoying. I wish there was like, or at the very least, if it's going to be something, a simple sprint button, just let it be like it is for freaking every other console game where you just push down the left stick and you move it forward, instead of just mashing X over and over again. My X key is starting to, literally, I've been pushing the X button so much that it's starting to get stuck to the controller and I'm having a hard time using it. That's a problem, because that's the freaking use or interact button for freaking anything on the menu. On the main PS4, homepage or whatever. That's a select button. That's a problem. So, bit of a change for that. And freaking lack of keybinds on consoles is just freaking ridiculous. Give me some customization, please. But that's my own little gropes and gripes with consoles. Sorry to recycle this little bit of footage again, but just notice That feather fell off the freaking structure there. This guy mentioned having unnecessary details in his review, which is the most freaking stupid thing I've ever read. And that is my main reason why I am thinking that this guy's a troll. Because nobody looks at a highly detailed game and says, the amount of detail in this game, the amount of detail and effort that went into making this game absolutely as realistic as they can try to make it, that's stupid. That's absolutely redonkulous. Nobody looks at a game and says that. Nobody thinks that, the amount of good-looking details they put into this game is pointless. I mean, there's a fine level between, there's a fine level between just doing crazy stuff for eye candy, but then there's also stuff for making it, actually worth your time, like skinning animals. It gets you the skin, which you can use in crafting, and you can sell the skins for money. There's purpose behind your actions. And you also get to see a freaking realistic skinning animation. What's there not to love? Or the cleaning mechanic. You actually see your gun is dirty, and then you wipe it down and it looks progressively cleaner as you mop it. And that's a detail that you don't get in a lot of other games. Your weapons don't really, in a lot of other modern games, your weapons don't look like they've been used. In this game, not only do they look different when their quality is lesser, but here's the thing, they freaking sound different. There's details like that just blow me away. Oh, and Leggett here gets it. Controls. OMG, sometimes I was feeling like I need one more finger. Grammar sometimes amazes me on these. Or spamming XXXXX to ride horse fast. That makes sense. The review here, well, I do have my own personal disagreements with it. I mean, honestly, I think the map is pretty good. I think that there's still a lot of stuff that you can see in the map. And I don't feel like action's slow or whatever, but hey, that's my opinion, and he has his. But this review here, it's objective. He's given the games, I mean, very few, but he's giving it a bit of pros and cons. And good and bad. It's, for me, still a bit low, but at the same time, it's more objective than the freaking 3s and the trolls that we just read through. So honestly, I think that works. That's fair. Alright, I'm getting sick of looking through all these, trying to find another good one to look over. So let's just try to look through these and find some cringeworthy misspells, just to pass the time. Jugando el juego en PS4 Pro le falta mejor definición gráfica y tiene bajadas de FPS. Por la demás bien collapse. Oh, that's the freaking collapse button. I don't speak Spanish, and I'm pretty sure I just butchered every freaking word. But he's having FPS problems on the PS4 Pro. Fair. Just looking over this one. Whenever you get into any action, the game is basically over. Not only is there no fine control, but there's basically no control whatsoever. Just button mash and hope for the best. What the frick does that mean? Never in my entire experience with the game have I ever button mashed. Because if I button mash in Red Dead, what's that gonna do? Just flail my gun around and start shooting the frickin' air. The friggin' woodpecker's dead. Oh, good job, me. No, there's aiming and there's shooting. The shooting to some might be clunky, I get it, and sometimes it's unreliable, I get that too. Just tweak your sensitivity though a bit, that might help. Bit of advice for anybody who might be suffering the same fate. But I've never legitimately button mashed. Because, like, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, to some it might be slow. It might be clunky to some, too. To each their own in terms of what kind of shooting mechanics they like. But it functions like a regular console shooter. You hold down your left trigger and you shoot with your right. And then you can switch it up a bit with, like, dynamite and throwing knives and stuff. The shooting is just like every other game. It's except with a bit more realism, as someone will fall over, shoot him in the leg. You can blow people's arms off with shotguns and stuff. Explosives have a chance of catching people on fire. Stuff like that. Oh, and headshots are pretty much anything as an instant kill. I mean, there's realism with that, but it's just like your point and your click, basically. It's nothing freaking, it's not rocket science, and nor is it like a freaking fighter. I'm pretty sure you have the wrong game. Because, unless you're talking about fist fights, but even then there's a level of polish to them. There's a level of strategy as you can strafe. You hold down the X button, you move the left stick from left to right, and you can dodge attacks. When you hold it down, you block. You hit the attack button, you time it right when they attack, you counter it. You block the attack and you punch back. And there's combos you can do with it too. It's not like truly button mashing. There's a bit of, I mean, yeah, you can start button mashing and just overwhelm somebody. Oh, and triangles grapple, which can strangle somebody to death with it. But there's no real button mashing in it, because that, in a gunfight at least, that's not going to get you anywhere. But the thing that's making me laugh the most is that he says, I end up almost literally ripping my controller apart every time I get into a gunfight. How do you do that? If there's a common denominator between all of these, from what I've seen just by scrolling through here, it's either a mix of trolls, a mix of just these one-sentence ones where it's like, oh, the game looks pretty, but still, it's like player movement, whatever. And then it's like everybody complaining about either PS4 Pro screwing things up, or the main common denominator that I've seen is people were thinking that a lot of it is just fetch quests, which I'm not really that far into the story. I've been just exploring it, to be honest. That's my fun time. That's how I have fun with these games, just exploring, just kind of just mess around. But, you know, honestly, the whole waiting for online thing, that's honestly not that bad. Because considering it's October 26th and it's supposed to be November, coming out in November. November 26th is the day I'm posting this, which would be the 1 month anniversary of this game being out. So maybe online's coming out. I honestly don't know when online's coming out. I should do some research on that. Apologies for ignorance. But, like, honestly, a month-long wait isn't nearly as bad as waiting 5 freaking years for the game to come to your platform, so honestly, I can wait a month. And, I mean, it's gonna be, if it's November 26th when the thing's coming out, then that's already freaking here. That's not gonna be really that long of a wait, you know? But anyway, I've rambled on a lot, I know, and I know to some it may sound like I'm just a mindless fanboy just constantly singing the praises of this game, and maybe in some respects I am, you know? Because I really do like the game. But I do have my own complaints with it, and guys, the two that I mentioned aren't the only ones, I guarantee you. There's plenty of other things that I can complain about, but this video isn't about my complaints, and maybe someday I'll write my own review. But I do hope that I was able to at least clarify a couple things for y'all. And at the very least, that maybe this would be entertaining for some. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I do hope that you've had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And that whatever you're doing in this next couple of days, that you have a freaking good time. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. And as always, Maxusthebeast is out.